Just stand, raise your hand so that the runners could find you and bring the microphone to you. Ms. Haynes, could you please stand up?
Hello, thank you for allowing me to make a comment this evening. I appreciate it. My name is Janet Hayes, and I have a number of concerns regarding the city budget and white-collar crime that contributes to street crime. First, I believe the city needs to stop giving developers federal dollars. Communities, neighborhoods, and individuals need to receive these funds directly. Funneling money through third parties only causes problems. Third parties take all the money off the top, leaving us to scramble over the scraps. Second, the city needs to stop falling for grandiose development schemes that destroy both acres of neighborhoods and the city's tax base. The Bio District, a perfect example of this bad tendency, needs to be dramatically reduced from its 1,500-acre footprint. The LSU VA project alone has destroyed $45 million worth of property and business taxes in Lower Mid-City, all while putting the city on the hook for extraordinary costs of 120 expropriation lawsuits. What programs is the city going to cut when it gets stuck with trying to make up the difference for these costs?
30 seconds.
Third, has it been 2 minutes already?
30 seconds, a minute and a half.
Third, well, I hadn't made comments the last 2 meetings. So. Third, the city needs to focus on the priorities of people: healthcare, food, safety, housing, the right to a decent living wage, and education. These are human rights. I'm for economic development, but it needs to be economic development that avoids middlemen and directly boosts individuals and families in the community, and it shouldn't come at the expense of these rights. The city's refusal to consider retrofitting Charity Hospital has left us without adequate health care, all because of a misguided obsession with supposed economic benefits of the UMC Hospital, which 6 years after the storm doesn't even have a business plan or funding. Retrofitting Charity Hospital would have the exact same economic impact as the LMC location and can be the economic driving engine we need. Sign our new petition at SaveCharityHospital.com. But finally, I urge you and your deputy mayors to actually listen to the people of this city. Senator Mary Landrieu told us Monday to make sure we hold elected officials accountable. Well, as I've seen, it's difficult to hold officials accountable when they do not listen. Over 10,000 people signed petitions calling for Charity Hospital to be reopened. What came of that community outcry? Nothing. The city belittled advocates for the hospital and tried to twist their message.
We need you to bring your comments to a close, please.
We deserve better, and I'm bringing my comments to a close. We need leaders who are prepared to buck national and international trends and focus on policies that represent us, not multinational corporations and real estate developers. Thank you.
I just want, you make some good comments, but I just want to want everyone to understand that when you go beyond that time, go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Let me just so that we can get started on the right foot. The reason why we have time limits is so that everybody has a chance to participate. At 7:30, I'm going to ask you to tell me what to do. And this is what I'm going to ask you if we don't get through all the cards. Do you want to stay here and continue and have more folks talk and answer? Or do you want to go on? It's going to be your decision. Excuse me, sir. I'm going to stay here all night. I'm going to be the last person to leave. So I just would ask everybody to stay within their time. It's been great across the entire city. If you could just please do it and be respectful, be passionate, but be constructive, everybody will get a chance to talk, and we will have the benefit of what everybody has to say. So I thank you for that courtesy as we began. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. McFadden, followed by Vabinia Thomas.
Good evening, and thank you for coming to our community. My concerns are the Pete Sanchez Center across the street and the fire station. We met with the mayor a year ago. I have not seen anything that has come out of the last meeting in reference to the Pete Sanchez Center and the fire station. These are necessities of this community. And I'd like to know just when something is going to happen. We haven't had a meeting to bring the community up to date to say what's what. That's my concern.
Thank you for those comments. Ms. Thomas, or was that Ms. Thomas? Okay, Ms. Thomas is going to follow.
Hi, I'm Viviana Thomas. I live in the Holy Cross Association neighborhood. In my neighborhood, I live in a 5700 block of Dauphine. There are 4 blighted houses directly across the street from me. The grass is about 8 feet tall. I've had 2 volunteers groups to come in and help us cut the grass along with Mac, who owns the village on Chabanette. But we don't always get volunteers to help us. And the grass is extremely high. It's out in the street. You can't see the stop signs. We have critters in the neighborhood that are living in these blotted houses. The blotted houses are not boarded up. We have wild animals. I had a snake under my foot one night getting out my car, and I've called several times about the street lights being out, the grass needing to be cut, and trees, and also the blighted houses need to be boarded up. So I'd like to know what y'all doing about it, even though we're getting the streets fixed in our neighborhood now, and I thank y'all for doing that. It's wonderful. And also the sewer line, that's great too, but we really need this grass cut because sometimes we have people who like to deal with drugs, get into those houses, and also that high grass and do all kind of things. They steal cars, they put it in the high grass also. We
30
need something
seconds.
done about it.
Thank you for your comment. Kirby Johnson, who wished to speak about crime, actually, and then Elizabeth Owens, I think it's Owens, who wants to talk about the per diem system.
Hi, I'm Ms. Johnson. One of my biggest concerns, and I'm sure the mayor is aware of the fact that we are really not pleased with what Ronald Surpass and his people have been doing. Now, let me tell you something. I have been very happy with what Commander Goodley has been doing. He has been trying to do what he can, but he is so overextended and has so many limited resources. He can only do what he can with the resources that he has. Now, the solution, far as I'm concerned, we are too top-heavy in administration and not heavy in officers. We're not heavy where we need to be. You want to get some money in there? Get rid of your deputy mayors because we didn't elect them. Get rid of all those commanders that was put in afterwards because we don't need them. What we need is people here to do. We got kids who have nothing to do. NORD is taking too long to come up running. When I was growing up, there were NORD programs year-round. We don't have that. We got kids sitting on blighted property. We cannot have that. Blight means crime, crime means danger, and if our children are sitting out there and they're playing in the streets, guess what's happening? We have a big issue. They can't deal with the kids and you too. So if you don't have a problem with what we're saying, we got a problem with what you're saying because you're not saying what we need and you're not doing what we need done. We don't want Magazine Street coming back to life. We want the Lower Ninth Ward coming back to life. We want the Ninth Ward the unforgettable
30
Upper Nine
seconds.
needs to come back to life. So we need you all to do something about it. And Mr. Surpass and Mr. Mayor, I'm very sorry, but get rid of your top-heavy administration and let the people get what they need in here.
Thank you for your comments. Ms. Owens, followed by Joe Osteen.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Owen. I want to talk quickly about some issues concerning the Orleans Parish Prison. First of all, I want to thank you for holding these budget hearings. I think it's so great to see an administration involve the community in and ask for the community's input on an issue as important as budget priorities. I understand that the city has an opportunity to build a new jail. And among the issues that the city is considering is how big the jail should be and how to fund it. I would like to urge you to continue to strive towards a 1,438 bed-sized jail. I understand that you've put together a working group and engaged an expert to look at these issues, and both have agreed that a 1,438 bed system is the right size for this community. I think it's great that you're engaging experts and community leaders in this issue, and I hope that you continue to make your recommendations based on data, facts, expert analysis, and not political influence. The second issue is how the jail is currently funded. I'd like to see you eliminating the per diem system. I understand, Mr. Mayor, that in previous meetings you have said yourself that it provides an incentive of keeping people in jail longer, and it incentivizes the system to incarcerate more people. I don't think that's fair. I think it's doesn't seem fiscally responsible to me, and I'd like to urge you to consider other funding options and not waste this opportunity to save the city considerable money that it could put towards some of the other issues that the community is talking about today. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Joe is going to be followed by Joseph Rakasner. Up front. No,
Good
just Joe is first, Joe.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, good. I appreciate that courtesy. Good afternoon to everyone. And this is one of the most politest crowds I ever seen. Give yourself a round of applause for extending that kind of courtesy. And I don't mean to offend anyone, but I come to speak real. Mayor, it's truly a disappointment for where we sit, the progress that's been made in this city. Not only under the previous watch, but under your watch, because your watch is happening now. The lady said that wonderful Fifth Avenue staff you got there, coming in the Ninth Ward, you need to cut half of them. We don't need them. But we do need is people that's going to do the work. We don't need to hear about no potholes being stuck with little rocks and talk. We need streets actually fixed. We need police protection that we can believe in. The killings, the burglaries, and all that's happening in our community, needs to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed now. I was reluctant to come to this meeting because truly they're a waste of time. You take our input and do what you want with it. We never told you to hire commanders in your police department or deputy mayors. We don't need that. We don't need you to cut city workers. What we need you to be is an advocate for the people and not just a talking head. We would appreciate when you say 45 million is coming to the lower Ninth Ward to fix streets. The next thing we hear is 65 for the whole million. And we do have intellect. We watch that money go on Magazine Street. We watch that money go on St. Charles Street. And we don't see the money coming down here in the lower Ninth Ward. I'm going to say this and I'm going to sit down. You see that lawless site? It might be the lawless site, but you best believe it's going to be the King's School. And when you put it up there, you need to be specific who going to run it, because it's not left up to that young boy who talking about he running the school district. It's up to us, because these are our children. We go to work, they come to us, we go to church with them, we see them in the grocery store, and half of the people you got around here can't say that. Let me leave you with this, Mr. Mayor. Just be real. Say what you mean and mean what you say. And the bottom line is this. There's a day of accounting coming for everyone, and I could be the first to testify. And we are not a hopeless people. We need to register to vote and make our voice heard. If you're dissatisfied, speak to it at the poll and stop wasting our time.
Thank you, Mr. Rakasner. Joe Osteen.
Joe Oster, how you doing today? Mr. Mayor and I, we spoke privately about an issue with illegal dumping. I just want to go on the record and make it public that we have a serious problem with illegal dumping in the lower Ninth Ward. And I ask that our fellow citizens please step up to the plate. Some of my neighbors told me who was doing illegal dumping in front of my house, but none of them will come up and speak to this gentleman here to press charges. That's what I'm asking you to do. Help me get rid of the problem by stepping up to the plate, okay? You see it going on, write down the license plate of the truck, call the police department and report it. That's the only way we are going to get rid of it. They can't do it by themselves. They need our help. Let's give it to them. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Vanessa Granger, followed by Norbert Rome. Vanessa Granger, followed by Norbert Rome.
Good evening. Let me start out by saying, welcome, Mr. Mayor, and no, I'm not satisfied. Okay, first of all, Flood and Garden streets down there, down here, are being touted as streets as part of recovery. These streets are being done with bond money from 1999. They have the Port of New Orleans written all over them. They lead to the active wharves on the riverfront. So I want to know, is this $5 million going to be deducted from those $45 million worth of street repairs that are slated for the lower Ninth Ward? On the $45 million, we want DBE contractors to get these contracts to repair streets in this community. We want people in this community to be hired when those contracts are bidded out. The fire station, I want to know why. Why is the fire station still in design phase? Why is the Pete Sanchez Center still in design phase? Okay, 2013 is outrageous to tell us as a community whose firemen are still in a trailer. Okay, your handout, John, from last week talks about the fire station, but it does not, in the scope of work, include the living quarters for the
30
firemen.
seconds, Ms. Granger.
So I need to know if those living quarters are going to be part of that fire station. Crime, Chief Surpass, we are separated from the rest of the city by water. Commander Goodley is doing a monumental job, but we are the largest police district in the city of New Orleans. And we had crime before, and we have even more crime now. We need more officers in this community. There are only 2 cars in this community at any given time, and that is not acceptable. So again, you came here last year, you asked for our input. Nothing happened in a year's time. And you come back and you ask us, you expect us to keep opening our purses and our wallets, giving you our tax dollar. Of course you all are pros at budgeting for outcomes. All you do is have meetings and get input and never
We
act
need you
on
to
it.
start to bring your comments
So
to a
we're
close,
here
Ms.
to tell you
Garringer.
we're sick and tired of it, and we demand that you do what it is you need to do for us. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Mr. Norbert Rome, followed by, I'm not quite certain what this name is, but I think is Leyed, Lon, Zio. Okay, Alonzo. You're following Mr. Rome.
Good evening. To God be the glory. My first concern is that we have these budgets, and you know, some people may not realize it, but the budget after 2005 was drastically different than the prior budgets. And when we speak about NORD and we say we doubled NORD budget in relationship to post-Katrina or pre-Katrina, you know, we budgeted now, but in relationship to where we are now and where we was 7 years ago, you know, we need to understand that, you know, because what we did for NORD this year is practically where we was 7 years ago. So we haven't really improved. We just got to the point where we was before, and if we go into where we was before, that wasn't a good place neither. You know, so, you know, it would be helpful if we understand, you know, what departments are increasing and what departments are decreasing and where the priorities are going. Because I keep hearing y'all say it, and I think we all understand it, where most of the devastation happened. You know, I was in the Ninth Ward pre-Katrina. I was living in the Ninth Ward. I live in the Ninth Ward now. And, you know, we understand that most of the damage was, we know where most of the damage was done, but it's obvious where most of the money was spent. You know, so, you know, that's, you know, I think that's the frustration is that we know monies are being spent, but they're not being spent where the devastation happened. You know, and even if you start correcting it now, you know, if you spent $10 over there and you give us $2, we still $8 in the hole. It's going to take 10 years before we catch up. See, that's the kind of understanding that I have, you know, and so, you know, I think we have a better understanding of the trend of the budget opposed to, you know, what we spent last year. You know, I think you understand what I'm saying.
Masters in comments.
On a good note, you know, there have been some expansion in the economics department, Norma Roussel, and the DBE department, and I think that was a good move. I know that the Councilman Johnson had a part of that. It's important that
30 seconds, Mr.
It's
Rome.
important that we do something with the DBE program and that 50%. And and I would like to say I have been working with neighborhood engagement and Ray Bolin and the director of that department, and that's a good move. So I do understand some efforts on y'all part, but I just hate to say it, but still, it's just not enough. It's just it may not be your fault, but I'm just speaking from my it's just not enough.
Masters in common sense, Mr. Rome. Mr. Alonzo, we got you, Mr. Rome, followed by Michael Pellet.
Yes, I defer mine to Ms. Garrison.
Blight. Mayor Landrieu, your 2011 budget calls for $16 million to fight blight and $12 million in federal grants to tear down properties near collapse or that pose a health threat and to prune weeds and high weeds and grass. How many houses in the Lower Ninth Ward have been torn down that fit this description? And how much high grass has been pruned or cut in this community from that funding? There are 2 double houses across from Sam Bonard that sit open and have been reported to Deputy Mayor Jeff Hebert. Why have they not been addressed? These houses pose a serious threat to the safety of our children in the community. Bus service. A number of residents living in the areas from Jordan Avenue to Caffin Avenues and Delaware Street to Jordan Avenue on the riverside of this community have expressed a strong demand to have the Barracks bus route reinstated. Since the Lil Easy bus service no longer exists in the Lower Nine, why has the Barracks bus line not been reinstated? The Sewerage and Water Board has gotten millions of dollars from FEMA. So why are we still living with environmental racism 6 years after Hurricane Katrina? Numerous leaks still persist, causing the mosquito population to be off the charts
30
and
seconds.
the growth of high grass in our community. Many drains are still clogged with dirt and open. Why have they not been repaired? As tax-paying citizens, we demand that these leaks be repaired immediately. Thank you.
Thank you once more. Joe on Sony yet? Oh, Michael, I'm sorry. Yeah, Michael, followed by Joe. I cannot make out this last name.
These are raised are not my own, yet these are my direct experience with the operation and maintenance efficiency of Sewage and Water Board. When not being specifically critical of the employees of the board, I must insist that a more efficient and profitable way of managing our water system must exist. I reside at Danielle Street. While only living at this residence for 2 months at the time I authored this letter, I have 2 issues in my neighborhood that have encouraged me to work my authority as a citizen of New Orleans to bring my issues to light. First, directly across the street from my house, there exists a water leak on the side of an abandoned lot. I cannot measure the rate of loss, however, but evidence of algae growing halfway down the block, trash being captured by the waste of water, and the fact that everyday citizens of the block have to cross a man-made river to get to and from their vehicles is an issue to me. I have 2 minutes, sir. I have 2 minutes. Not only that, straight, I have 2 minutes, sir. It's important. Okay. Please hold my time to interrupt me, sir. Thank you. Not only that, stray dogs and animals, mosquitoes from this man-made river take place refuge at that. I don't know how long this problem exists, but a neighbor assured me he made a complaint. Time passed and I filed a complaint. With my persistence and with the...
Excuse me, if you speak a little slow, I'd rather give you a little bit more time so they can understand, so they can hear what you want to say.
I do appreciate that, sir. I have a valid complaint.
Okay. Well, not 4 pages, though, but go ahead.
No, it's short, sir. I'll be honest with you. This problem exists citywide. It's not only an infrastructure problem, but also a money problem. I truly believe the citizens of New Orleans' cost of water is higher than necessary because of the inefficiencies of Sewage and Water Board being able to locate and repair leaks in a timely manner. Now, when a citizen has a water leak on the owner's side of the property, the board sends them a ridiculous water bill, and there's a process the account holder must use to get an adjustment. But when a leak occurs on the city side of the water system, who sends them a bill? I see a waste of a precious resource. I see states in this region have a drought problem, such as Georgia and Texas, at the same time, and the measure amount of potable water in our city runs down the drain. I watch money run down the drain. I watch the consumer paying for the money running down the drain. Are we being good stewards of this precious resource? I think not. A better system must exist. So I recognize that the operation process is very slow or too heavy of a burden. For example, I made a complaint about the water leak across the street from my house. A few days later, someone dropped 4 safety cones 5 feet tall in front of my door. I placed them across the street by the water leak where I thought they was needed. I was not notified by any public utility company of any work to be done in front of my door. Once again, with my persistence and with the customer service representatives, I discovered my neighbor's water meter was repaired. The customer service supervisor found that no work order was placed. The field supervisor...
30 seconds.
The field supervisor and I found out there was a main water leak. So when my family walked out of the front door, past the last step, we have no sidewalk with 4 safety cones, yellow tape, dirt wire mesh, and somebody could trip over and cause a lawsuit to the city. I believe it's a safety hazard. Today was Saturday. I do hope the concrete pouring crew comes out and the concrete settles without dogs or people leaving footprints in the concrete. I think the department could have at least placed plywood over the hole, since I know no work would be done over the weekend. Once again, I must reiterate, there are meetings coming up September 12th under agenda item 11. Other matters. That request was denied for me to speak at. I requested to speak with representatives in operations, and that request was denied. I requested to speak with the representative of the community and intergovernmental relations. That request was denied. I did leave a voicemail previously mentioned department. I got no return call. I was advised to submit a letter, but I believe that won't go anywhere. I was told I could speak at September 21st board meeting, but really, truly, all the members and committees would have already met. Decisions would be made, and I wasn't guaranteed to speak. I have valid issues. I got suggestions that I would like to offer you. I mean, I've been dealing with this all day, all week for the last 2 weeks, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Joe, followed by Vincent Wilson. Thank you, Michael.
My name is Joe Friend. I don't live in this neighborhood, but I am an active citizen with regard to the following. A lot of people tonight have complained, justifiably in many cases, that things don't get answered. And I'm quite certain that's true in many cases. A group of citizens has proposed to the city of New Orleans a citizen participation project which would organize neighborhood associations so that the city would advise people through the associations, and there are hundreds of them in this city, of what's going on and how the citizens who belong to these associations can respond to that. The city is ignoring us, and the mayor thinks, as he said earlier, that his proposal which organized tonight's meeting, is better. But he hasn't given the proposal that hundreds and hundreds of citizens worked thousands of hours to put together. We call it a citizen participation program. It's also been called by the Planning Commission the Neighborhood Participation Program. We don't care what it's called. But we think that our proposal, which is very well thought out and submitted in ordinary course, would provide you, as well as many others, with an opportunity to get information from the city and give information to the city on an organized basis, and not on ad hoc meetings like this, which are okay, they're fine, but as many of you have said, you come here, you make complaints, and nothing happens. This would organize it, and I encourage the mayor to reconsider his apparent opposition to
You need to bring your comments to a close, Mr. Friend.
Sure, to the project. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Vincent Wilson, followed by Marguerite Dole Johnston.
Good night or good evening, fellow citizens of the Lower Ninth Ward. My name is Vincent L. Wilson, and my wife and I are still in Houston, Texas, traversing back and forth down I-10 to finally redo our property. And I see a lot of people that I recognize from Houston that were very active in possibly seeing this day come to fruition. However, Mayor Landrieu, we just want to say, as tax-paying citizens, we feel like we're getting kicked in the back of the head while we're down. And it just doesn't feel very good, being that there isn't any foreclosure. And as the gentleman just stated earlier, there is organizations and community activism that has implored you to allow us to be a part of the decision-making. Okay, not to have a meeting after the meeting after the meeting and the decision is already made. Okay, we want to have decision-making input on how these budgets are being allocated. And we can help you implement them because we're the citizens of this community that's affected. Okay, so again, my question initially is, by us only being a third of the way back here in the lower Ninth Ward, isn't this an opportune time to do the infrastructure?
30 seconds.
Okay, there's a fund here called the Subterranean Fund that has been set upon since 2009, okay, and it's just sitting there growing interest, but yet there's nothing being done to the infrastructure. Yet in St. Bernard Parish, just a couple of miles away, I mean, they're working day and night on Sunday. Brand new sidewalks, streets, you know, everything that you need for a community. I mean, my truck is towed up from the floor up, hitting these potholes. The potholes that was here before Katrina are still here and worse, okay?
We need you to
So
bring your comments
if you
up
can,
close,
Mayor
sir.
Landrieu, we want expenditures, line item of all expenditures for all public work projects for the lower Ninth Ward. Can we have that today before we leave, sir?
Thank you. Marguerite Johnston will be followed by Keith Craft.
Mr. Mayor, how you doing? You know, I'm proud to see everybody here, but at least the mayor come to y'all. Because you see us in the back there, in the upper Ninth Ward, he don't come see us. From Claiborne to Almanasta, we got Yet. Now, he's gonna say that he came to see us because he did fight the blight, and that's it. Now, he's gonna say he's been to, what is this, city right here that they just built, Habitat for Humanity built? He goes there. He goes to St. Claude. But what about us in the back? You have the Desire Florida housing community that you have not yet been there. Hello. Second thing, if it wouldn't be for 5th District and our fire station, guess what? We'll be dead as dead as donuts because we don't have not a medical center. We have nothing for our senior citizens. Nothing. I'm near transportation because we got a bus, RTA, that goes nowhere. It goes from Louisa to St. Claude. You better hope it passes. And don't talk about the Galvez bus. It makes its own route. And I'm asking you, Mr. Mayor, here and now, because you see, I see my friend right here, he looking at me. The officer, Francois, he told me to calm down. And I see Bernadine over there, she's here, and some other people. But we need you, Mr. Mayor. When you was running for your seat, you didn't have to ask us to back you. We stood with you. But you didn't forget about us, the people in the back of the upper Ninth Ward. So we're asking you to come and see us. And I know, Mr. Vincent, you're going to say this. But, Mr. Mayor, one other question. There's a lot of people in here employed, and I'm not trying to knock nobody out their job. But, Mr. Mayor, can you tell me why you have so many out-of-town people in your office than people in town? But I have to leave y'all because I got to go back to the hospital because I left my baby there. Don't put me in jail. But I expect my questions to be answered.
Okay, we wish that your child is okay. Keith Craft, followed by Ms. Tribble Condor.
Good afternoon. The thing I want to know about is the high grass. I understand that there were some program to cut the lots. These lots are not being cut. Now, school have opened. Wintertime will soon be upon us. Children stand on the corners waiting on school buses in the dark alongside of this high grass. Just the other day on Flood and Law, they found a body burnt beyond recognition in high grass. People stayed 2 doors over, couldn't even see the car. This is ridiculous to have grass like this here growing in our neighborhood. I went to cut my grass, I seen 3 snakes. They have possums, coons. I feel like I'm living in the backwoods of Tennessee. I work every day, I pay my taxes. Matter of fact, Mr. Mayor, I voted for you. Here it is, now that we need you, all of you, we need you now. And it seems as though now that you have gotten to the place that you want to be at, you have certainly forgotten about us. You go uptown, streets are being paved. Trees are even being planted. What's up with that? When we don't even have sidewalks to walk on. Sewage and Water Board dug a hole
30 seconds.
in the front of my house. They have yet to come back and put the pavement on it. They dig a hole, they put dirt on it, and forget about us. And we are sick and tired of this. And that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Condor is going to be followed by Melinda, perhaps, Tennessee. Ms. Condor, up front. And Ms. Tennessee is next.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and all city officials. My concern is, I'm going to piggyback on Ms. Vanessa. Where's the fire station, the police station, and the community center for the lower 9th Ward? We keep having these meetings. It's been 6 years since Hurricane Katrina, and that's all we have is meetings, 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 and nothing is ever being done. Okay, the second comment I have is concern about the trees that I've called several times on Poland Avenue, North Claiborne Avenue, leaving from the lower 9th Ward, St. Claude Avenue also. Nothing has been done. I also have a concern about no lights on Poland Avenue, and I'm going to piggyback on a lady that just left out of the door to see about a baby. There's no lights by the interstate, by Elmanasta and France Road, where the old Swagman used to be. There's trees growing this tall over me. When I'm at the corner by the stop sign, I have no way of seeing oncoming cars. I almost got killed on Friday afternoon. I have concerns about, the prisoners. The last time I made a comment a year ago concerning why don't we use the inmates to do free labor? Why? I mean, I understand that there's not much money, but the money that we have, they need to allocate it for the inmates. We give them 3 square meals a day. They get Bible services and they get educated. And what we do, we keep complaining and saying that we don't have money. We cutting city workers. Let the inmates do the job. Volunteer workers. You go down West Jasperez Drive and everything is done. I shop down there all day. Why doesn't the lower 9th Ward have a drugstore in the community? I left Anytime Fitness there at 10 o'clock at night. I passed 4 Walgreens, Robert E. Lee, Elijah Fields, Louisa, and another store. I had to drive all the way to Sherman on Paris Road just to get my medicine at 10:30. I passed 4 pharmacies, nothing open. And I also have a question concerning the door-to-door program that the officers implemented like 2 months ago. Where's the police officers that's supposed to knock on the doors of the community citizens in the lower 9th Ward? Every time they're showing on TV, I see the Citizens, Magazine Street, Lakeview, Lakeshore. Where are the officers knocking on the doors to the citizens of the lower 9th Ward so that I can get my point across? They only service Caucasian areas. What about African Americans?
All right, well, thank you for your comments. Ms. Tennessee, followed by, we'll have to work on that one a little bit. Ms. Tennessee?
My name is Matilda Tennessee. I'm the director of a nonprofit organization called Limitless Vistas, a training program that trains inner city youth for environmental and green jobs. Under LVI training program, we have a sub-training called Water and Wastewater Operators. I am proud to say that LVI was able to collaborate with Sewage and Water Board to enhance its water and wastewater training program. It started out as Sewage and Water Board providing space, introducing us to their subcontractors, staff assistants, and then allowing our students to complete an internship with their staff. Why is this important? It gave our students experience in the field. It opened new career opportunities, and it filled a tremendous employment need in the environmental utility industries as baby boomers retires. I would like to personally thank Ms. Marcia for giving our children an opportunity. Our students are preparing to take their civil service exam along with the state exam to become water and wastewater operators as level 1. Last week, an environmental company published an article about the unique relationship that we have with Sewage and Water Board. And so I have a question or a comment to Mayor Landry. What I would like to know in your RFP process, is it a way possible for these contractors that come to New Orleans to and get contracts, if they can be more or less compelled to work with the training providers
30
in the city
seconds.
so that our students can be hired? Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I think this name could be Kathleen Thomas, and there's another name that goes with it. Kathleen Matthews or North Galvez? Kat, I'm sorry. Stand up. Followed by Bruce Williams. All that pretty fancy writing.
Yeah, but didn't I tell you it paid off for me? And I would like to know the good evening to everybody, friends and family of our community in the Ninth Ward. I am not happy. Families are not happy. And we're too close to the borders to say the people have problems of not being addressed. Mr. Mayor, you have promised us many things, and those things haven't happened. When they talk about money went uptown, they've allocated $50 million to the Broadmoor area. Yes, it looks beautiful, but they didn't have the water that we had. And I came from 4822 North Galvez, and I happened to be up on that morning when the waters decided to come through. 57, 58, 59, the waters, the lights went off, and then Eric and Sally went off. But my thing is that when you see the water rolling in and you see the 29th, what's happening in New Jersey, and we're here in 2011 and we know 205, what really happened to us, I thank God for my mom, my dad, but God is good. And the people down here is overdue in processing of the needs. We should have people coming down to restore those apartments, those homes, because we didn't ask for the water. When I look at that barge that they hit my family house with, and then I have pictures, and no one has come to talk to those family immediately because those folks was older, and some I'm see now, some locked up in the hospitals, some don't know how to read and write, can't take care of their paperwork. And somebody else is coming back, and I'm seeing Hawaii 5-0 coming up in New Orleans on Tennessee Street, claiming the land that somebody else supposed to be having, which is my color. And if they left me in 1965 and I was caught up in that, and I was the last to go in the attic before, come on, be real. It's not about color, it's about the people. And our constitutional rights give us, we are for by whatever. Mr. Johnson, you represent us, we want more. We want the people to be accounted for because we still poor. The food and the cost of living is exceedingly high. The utility is exceedingly high. But when I come through the community and I can't see Galvez Street like I used to see in the Galvez bus, and I see all those trees, and I lived at 4822 North Galvez between Desolon and Jordan, and they wanted to start a second line yesterday, you know what? Oh, it ain't my fault, but it's my time to speak up for the people. And if anybody know better than Kathleen, again, I say, didn't I tell you it paid off? And my daddy was a World War II vet, and he bought that house over there. And many of these young ladies that I see today, they're people that we had to say good morning, good evening. The church today is not saying that. Thank you very much, and I hope y'all realize you better come on back because I'm going to make some noise.
Thank you. Bruce Williams, followed by HMK Emma. I see Dean Miller Charles is still here. She didn't leave. Your daughter didn't leave, did she? Okay. Bruce Williams.
Everybody's getting ticketed outside on their cars. So
Mayor said, don't worry about it. Bruce, the mayor said, don't worry about it. Bruce Williams,
I don't know where Bruce is.
HMK.
There you go, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is HMK Amen. I'm a member of the Central City community. But my mother and I.
Hold.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone, and Mr. Mayor. My name is HMK Amen. I'm a member of the Central City community, but we were not available. We were out of town. My mother and I, Dean Charles.
I'll let Chief Surpass, excuse me, let Chief Surpass make an announcement about what that is.
I'm Commander Goodley. Be advised, folks, that is not parking tickets you're receiving. That is a community initiative. We're actually doing vehicle burglary report cards, grading you on your vehicles that's parked in the parking lot. That's a community initiative. You are not receiving parking tickets, all right? That's another initiative that Chief Surpass announced and the 5th District is implemented as part to engage you and make sure you're safe, all right? So relax.
Thank you, Commander. HMK, we're going to start the clock again.
Okay, good evening again. The reason why I'm here before you is because I've participated for many years in an effort to establish a citizen participation model for the city of New Orleans, and you heard something about that from Mr. Joe Friend. I'm concerned because my city council person, Stacy Head, appointed me to be on the task force in January, and that task force has not met because, from my understanding, the mayor's office wanted to appoint several more people on that panel, more than the city council persons had appointed. So I'm concerned that there has been a delay in us reviewing the models that have been presented to the City Planning Commission, and I'm concerned that the citizens of New Orleans cannot continue to participate in a process that will assure that this city will have a citizen participation model. So I'm asking the mayor if he will explain why he is delaying the process and why he seems to be wanting to stack the deck so that he will have a stronger input on that task force than anyone else.
Thank you for your comments. Reverend Willie Calhoun, followed by Kim Robertson.
Good evening. My comments are actually toward the budget. Given the fact that FEMA has only $800 million, and there's going to be a threat of taking money or cutting projects from the Gulf Coast, has it been reviewed as to what programs are going to be cut and how that's going to impact the present FEMA dollars that we have here now in terms of, like I said, the $1.8 billion for the school and all the monies that's supposed to have been coming here from FEMA?
Okay, thank you. Kim Robinson is going to be followed by Mr. Chester Nevels.
Good afternoon. Since December 2008, I've been getting water in my lines. So my concern tonight is when you do the streets, are you doing the streets to correct the water line problems? Every time it rains, I have to light my hot water heater. This can go on maybe 5 times to 30 times a month. I've called Entergy repeatedly. It's gotten to the point where it's a cell-to-cell. I know we have a problem. I've called the 1-800 number. They continuously tells me that they know they have water in the lines, but nothing has been done. This has been 3 years. and it's very old. It's ruining my hot water heater. And the other issue I have is the mosquitoes in the lower Ninth Ward is very bad. Whenever I open the door, they beat me in. So if you can do something about maybe cutting the grass or spraying or something, that would help. My kids are getting all bitten up. Thank you.
Thank you. Chester Nevels, followed by John Colfer.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. I have a real concern as it relates to the lower Ninth Ward. First of all, if you expect individuals of the lower Ninth Ward to return, there must be some faster moving on the infrastructure. You cannot expect people to come into this place and it's looking like a third world country. It is awful. Very slow movement, and I worked in administration, and I said this to the past mayor. You cannot expect people to return when you don't have an economic development system in place. People will not return when there's no job to maintain their homes. You have to have an economic development structure in place. There is none. I'm looking at the information here, how the cities spend money. They are spending less money on economic development. How do you expect people to want to return when they can be somewhere else? Lower Nine cannot return without strong economic development. Disadvantages businesses, people participating in that process. That process, they've been taken out the process. Individuals got to be included in the process. We have been kept out.
30 seconds.
You're going to continue having the trash dumping until the people return. I offer this to you, Mr. Mayor. There are home dollars and there's community development block grant money for low to moderate income individuals that we can look at rebuilding and start looking at lower Nine. I know we have some situation where secessions and all other stuff, but we have low income people down here to be able to help them rebuild and come into lower Nine.
Thank you, Mr. Nevels. John is going to be followed by Justina Frazier.
Good evening. We have almost 6 miles of 12-foot dirt levee right above the lower Ninth Ward here. That's our only federal levee. And the Corps says that we are safe because we're in the wider perimeter of the surge protection barrier and the walls that surround us. But they have not considered climate change in any of their, you're safe from a storm, a 1% storm, a 1% chance in 100 years. None of that considers anything but the past. It doesn't consider the rains and the sea level rising and the subsidence here. They haven't really taken that into account. And this is where climate change happens, right here in this neighborhood. We are most impacted by climate change, and that's the thing that they have least considered. So we need the city to stand with us. We know already that Uptown is safe and that we are not. But we need you to help get external, independent scientific review of this, which the United States Senate declined to do for the Lock project, which is going to happen on that levee, right? That's one reason the levee's been left alone, although the Corps said they didn't think it was.
30 seconds.
So we need your help, Mr. Mayor, to stay with downtown, not just uptown. Thank you.
Thank you. Before Justina Frazier comes up, there's a charcoal gray Chevy Suburban, license number KKE 844. You're blocking a driveway on North Claiborne. I think the owner of the property is trying to either get in or get out. Justina Frazier will be followed by Jane Dimitri.
Good Good evening, Mr. Mayor. It's a pleasure to stand before you and meet you today. I have a pet peeve. But number one, my pet peeve is the hospital in New Orleans East. And when I say New Orleans East, I'm saying the whole area, the Ninth Ward, the Upper Nine, or whatever. That's the East also. I'm wondering why we have to wait till 2013 when it's money up there that we could have a hospital. These people need a hospital to go to too, you see. So why we have to wait? And number two, the elderly need to come back home and have a place to stay. When you took and revised the city, Mr. Mayor, I don't know who helped you, but they should have went back to school. This city should have been revised on elderly, the hospital, and then you hire your educated people that's here in New Orleans. We have educated people down here in the Ninth Ward, Upper Nine, or what have you. Hire people from here, New Orleans, so they can appreciate you. Because the way things is going now, I'm going to tell you, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to come out factual and tell you. You won't see a second term. I'm not going to hide from you. You won't see a second term.
Thank you for your comments. Ms. Jan Dimitri will be followed by Henry Irvin. Now, why y'all groaning for on the mayor of the Ninth Ward?
I'm going to be short because I'm really looking forward to hearing the next comments that are being made. I wanted to tell you, I put in my card in my district and it didn't get selected, and I thought it was really important, and so I came here tonight, and I hate to take up your time, but I did attend. I wasn't out of town, but I didn't get to speak. And I think it's really important. People want to be involved. Everybody here wants to be involved. You want to be able to tell what you know and offer your opinions and get some feedback and be part of the process. And I think that's what everybody wants. We've learned that since Katrina, that you have to do it at the neighborhood level. It has to be the people that do it, because we can't wait on the federal government, the state government, or the city government, but it's the people that are doing what needs to be done. The Office of Neighborhood Engagement, I've been very pleased. They're helping in my area. I hope they're helping in your area, but they're not enough. We need a process that allows for two-way communication. This process needs to look at the budget. I mean, I think it's fantastic. We're now having a budgetary meeting. I know my district got one before the present mayor came in, but only because the council did it. We need these meetings, but we need them put so that they will stay no matter who the mayor is. We need to be able to have meetings on critical issues. We need to be informed of zoning changes. We have to have a process. And therefore, I'm here
30 seconds.
in support of the Citizens Participation Project. It's a process that will guarantee in some way that the neighborhoods and the citizens get to have their say and get to have feedback. And I think it needs to be fully funded. There was a minimal $60,000 put into the last budget, and it didn't get spent. As you've heard earlier, it was put on the side and not done. But we need a process. It takes some money to get the process in, and once it's there, we'll be able to participate. So I'm urging that that be put back into the budget.
Thank you. Mr. Irvin will be followed by Ruston Henry. Hank.
My name is Henry Irvin. As most of you know, I live on St. Maurice Avenue. I'm concerned about everything north Claiborne Street. I'm concerned about the grass that's 10, 12 feet high. I understand there was a contract that was supposed to be let to cut the grass in the District E, in the lower Ninth Ward and in the east. I asked a question who had the contract. It seems like I was told I couldn't have that information. And as a gentleman got up early to talk about trash, come back where I live at. Come back and see the signs that people have put up saying that this is not a dump. There's so much trash, there's so many tires. Miro Street was so bad that it was blocked up from St. Maurice to Tricou. You could not travel that street. In the block that I live in, the 2500 block of St. Maurice, I heard a lady talk about snakes. They had some snakes come out the grass on the other side of the street that I'd never seen before. Snakes with horns on top of their head. And since we have this street program, if they don't do but one street, do Galva Street first. As of September 2009, according to the Subterranean Street Program, we were supposed to start that. And everybody talked about what goes on in St. Bernard. If you have time, go down Claiborne Street to Inner Jackson Barracks, make a left-hand turn, go back Mealy or Angela to Patricia.
30 seconds, Mr.
And go down that street
Irvin.
and watch all the things. But sir, you told me about 30 seconds, and I've seen some people up here talk 3 or 4 minutes after you told them 30 seconds. You got me up here now, see. And I don't think it's fair. But it's a shame that a small community like St. Bernard can do as much as they're doing. And we've had the money. The money's been there. There was, and one more, and I'm gonna close with this one. It was stated in 2006, don't come back, because nothing was coming back north of Claiborne Street. There's a man that owned a grocery store in this neighborhood. As a matter of fact, on Falstaff in Claiborne, was told, don't worry about building back, because we're not letting them come back. They want it to be a green space. I was fortunate in 2005, in September, when there was a police blockade, a barricade, all the way from the bridge to the parish line. But having the right credentials, I was able to get in to see the things that was going on down here. They don't want us down here. And I'm sick and tired of everything being done south of St. Claude Street. I'm sick of them 2 streets that you're doing now. Pre-Katrina, they had over $10 million to do street repair work down here. And what happened? It was spent on that side. And like I brag now, I never would brag about education, but I graduated from Dillard University with a degree in accounting. And numbers I'm good at. That school back there at Lawless, they started off with Mayor Landrieu at 7-day event to say 44 million. Now it's down to 37 point something million. That's across the street at the Sanchez building. It was 18. A man from the city came here one day and said it was 18 million. 2 weeks later, it was 15. Now it's down to 11. And I know they taught me how to count at Dillard. We didn't have no computers and we didn't have no calculators.
Work with us, Mr. Irvin. We got some other folks that want to speak. Thank you. Rustin Henry, followed by Mary Still.
Hello, everybody. And thank you, Mr. Irvin, for being Mr. Irvin. I'm formerly from H&W Drugstore, and I know the mayor has a lot to do and all this stuff, but down here in the Lower Ninth Ward, one thing that'll help us out, make it simple for you. You got people living out there, cut the grass. Let your neighbors, because unlike pre-Katrina, when your neighbor's right next to you, your neighbor's like five lots down thing, let people be able to see each other, feel safe. If we cut the grass, I know you got a whole lot of stuff to do, but cut the grass first. Let's not get to the corner and you got to be halfway in the street before you can make a turn because you can't see oncoming traffic. Help Councilman Johnson get the grass cut. Help us to see each other, feel safe out there. Simple resolution. I know you got a whole bunch of things you got to do long term, but cut the grass, make us feel safe out here in the Lower Ninth Ward. Thank you very much, and thank you, Mr. Irvin.
Thank you, Hank. Mary Still or Stilt? Mary Ellen Stilt. Okay. Jeannie Slack. Jenny Slack. Janine. Okay.
It's Janine Slack. I like to comment to the young lady who talked about the prisons. We don't want any more prisons. We want schools. We want after-school programs for our youth. We want to get our children involved and let them know that we do care about them. It's easy to lock them up, okay, but we need to educate them. The last time I was here, I talked about not having enough schools, elementary schools down here, and a young lady living next door to me whose child has to catch the bus. One morning she came upset because there was a van sitting there and she thought it was because of traffic. But it was a guy in the van thinking that those kids were out there. He thought she was a kid because she had the hood. But when she stepped out, he pulled off. So it makes me wonder, what was his plans? As I stated before, when our kids walk to school, me personally and everybody I know, if we're home, we peeping out that door, we sitting on that porch, we leaning on that fence, because we watching our babies. We don't need our babies to be bust somewhere else. It's fine that you're building Lawless, but there's other schools there. Edison, what about that? McDonald 19 or Louis Armstrong, Hardin, what about all those schools? And then you want us to come back, but you're not giving us what we need. And we need our schools, we need the grass cut. Every time I go back in town, I get upset when I see all the grass. I have an aunt that lives back in town. I got to go the same way all the time. I can't cut down the street because it's blocked. Trees and grass all over. How could you do this to us? You tell us you're going to cut the grass. Like the mayor said, cut the grass. Make us feel like, okay, we want you there. We want you back. Please cut the grass. Do something. The streets, Galvin Street, look like a crater. You can't even go up Galvin Street. That bus used to pass that. It don't do it now. I have to sit
30
down.
seconds.
You don't have to worry about it because I'm too upset. I'm too full. And listen to all of
Take
this.
a deep breath.
Thank you. And another thing, I'm an asthmatic, so I've been suffering because of that smoke. Friday, I was in the emergency room. I just refuse to go back to the emergency room. And I need to, because you could hear it. But if we had a clinic here, I wouldn't have to go uptown. We have nothing.
Okay, let's hope the health improves. Billy Pocket or Pickett, followed by Elise Hamilton.
Oh, thank you. I just wanted to.
And that's going to bring the comments to a close unless.
I work for a faith-based nonprofit, Christian-based nonprofit organization, and we have the New Orleans Baptist Association. I'm here with a good Reverend Johnny Jones. You guys know Johnny. So anyway, I've been working here for a while in New Orleans for just a little bit, and just wanted to say that we have aspirations at our nonprofit where we are trying to go out in the community and do home repair for blighted homes, and also have a lot of aspirations, some high aspirations for starting a FQHC medical clinic in an underserved area. And just wanted to bring that up and have just high hopes that it won't be difficult for us to partner with some of the city organizations. I just wanted to throw that up. I worked with Samaritan's Purse before, and they had a little bit of difficult time working with Nora. And anyway, just hoping that, just wanted to bring that up and encourage you to maybe reach out and utilize some of the nonprofits and some of the good folks in the city that are trying to do some things and make a difference and help some folks. And that's all.
Thank you. And Elise Hamilton will be the final comments, and then the mayor's going to respond.
Put in two different requests, and also I put my hand up for Mr. Johnson and also the mayor. And I've not had an opportunity, so I don't know what happened to our card.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. Councilman.
Well, I'm not going to be long, but I just want to say that I think that a lot of these meetings we don't benefit from. There are a lot of promises, and we don't ever see anything being done. We vote for you all, and we expect you to keep your campaign promises. The Ninth Ward needs so much. It's just a disgrace. We don't have a supermarket. We have those little corner stores where you go and pay almost $2 for a can of cream. We got to go to St. Bernard Parish
to shop, and we shouldn't have to do that. Before Katrina, we at least had a Walgreens. We don't even have a Walgreens anymore. We have to go to St. Bernard Parish for Walgreens. All I'm asking is, we voted for you all. Please keep your promises. I call our elected officials the invisible people, because when you're running, we see you. You're all on TV, and you're saying a lot of stuff. But then when you get elected, we don't see you, and you do not keep your promises. So all I'm asking is, the Ninth Ward was the poster child for Katrina, and we are still the poster child for New Orleans because you're doing nothing for us. So please help us. Put something down here to show us that you care. Our cousins are back, and that's for a lack of a word that I don't want to call them, and that's the people who are stealing and robbing and taking stuff from people who work hard. So we have dope dealers, we have just unnecessary people down here, and we just need some help. That's all I'm asking. Mayor, I love you, but please help us.
Thank you. Now, are you Alvin, Mr. Alvin? Yes, go ahead. Call was on the floor. My apologies. Hold on.
That's all right.
Mr. Alvin, wait, get a microphone.
My name is Professor Alvin O. Chambliss, law professor at Thurgood Marshall School of Law, Indiana University. I've been here since 2007, and God has given us the vision that New Orleans cannot come back until the lower ninth. And I don't care what anybody say, Joe Lee, whoever, until the lower ninth, and that's the litmus test, come back, nothing will succeed. Now, I gave the gentleman, Mr. Johnson, a note, and I tried to get the mayor's attention, and he just ignored me. But the note basically said that this meeting is a sham unless the procedures change whereby he get these comments and then he schedule another meeting to expound on comments written and otherwise. And I have 10 points right quick. Please respond to these 10 items. Also meet with us at Bethel AME across the street a little later on if you can. One, New Orleans used an experimental laboratory. This seemed like the Tuskegee Silver Study to us. Education, healthcare, transportation, information technology, the strong comeback city in America. Number two, the federal city in Algiers, Major David Myers was over there. I talked to Colonel Major Honore. He could have headed to that. You're talking about over $1 billion, and you're talking about a area that will have a all-white school, all kinds of things over the Algiers neighborhood. We hadn't heard anything about all kinds of jobs. Number three, Inspector General muscle in on the public school board trying to get oversight in the Senate. Some people say you don't need that. That to me is just a muscle job. Number four, the master plan. Where is the written master plan for Lower Ninth? You have to do that to get federal funds. Where is the master plan? We need it. 5, mayor position on Suno. He wouldn't say anything. He was reticent. Moot on Suno. What is his position on the future, Suno? 6, security districts. All these black people got liens on their property, and the old senior citizens don't know you can get exemption. They're losing their property with this security. All these white folks waiting to take over the property. 7, Charity Hospital. What is the position on Charity Hospital? Now, the mayor straddled the fence, but what is the written position on Charity Hospital and health care? 8, upper 4 employees. We need the mayor. I see all them people over there.
But we need, Mr. Alvin.
Yeah, 2 more. We just need the mayor in writing to put his upper 4 demographics by race. So you got all them people over there. We know the people calling the shots and demographic. He needs to give us a written report on his directors. Don't bring them people over there. We want writing and how much they make and all that other stuff. Number 9, $2 million grant on Treme and Claiborne. Where is that? The mayor straddled the fence. Well, I want it, but I don't want it. I'm for it, but I ain't for it. What is his official position on Claiborne? And last but not least, the city position on public school. Public school is a scandal. 85% of charter and the charter. I mean, I'm an educator. That's my specialty. If you want, or Alvin O. Chandler, Google me.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you. Patricia Jones. And as you all can tell, we are running a bit over the allotted time.
I think the mayor said he would stay a little longer, right?
Go ahead.
Let's read our comments. All right, it's important to talk about this budget issue. So good evening, I'm Trish Jones, Service Executive Director of NENA. I have a few specific questions, so if you guys in those departments over there, if this is your deal, please write it down. There are homes that were demolished, and there are a lot of holes that weren't filled in. That's very unsafe because there's grass growing. There are volunteer groups, folk in the neighborhood coming to cut the grass and falling in holes. Write that down. The next one is the permit process needs to be improved. It's doing better, I would say, than it was 3 or 4 years ago. Folk could not even get permits. It's moving a little bit faster, but there needs to be more efficiencies on how permits are approved as well as inspections. Write that down. My next question is around the civil service impact on the budget. Could you talk a little bit about the current state of the civil service? Are there any changes? And if there are, how will these changes affect employment opportunities in the civil service department? Also, my last question here, I'm sorry, my second to the last question. Am I okay on my 2 minutes?
Go ahead.
Thank you so much. All right. Could you explain to us the different priorities you have here on this list, Mr. Mayor? You ask us to prioritize 1 through 6, public safety, economic development, children and families, all of these topics. I think it would have been helpful in the beginning of the meeting to explain examples of programs under these categories so that folk can make an intelligent decision about them. It'll be very helpful. So give them an example of some of the programs you've done last year that you asked for priority emphasis on. What happened with those, which programs fell under which area, and then how did you allocate those dollars? And of those dollars that were allocated, how much has actually been spent? That's a specific question. Write that down.
And you have a
All right,
final
my
point,
last
right?
question. My last question is very important, and it goes to the community. This question is for all of us, and just a reminder. Here on these maps is the planned zoning land use for this area. Take the time tonight to look at it. There's an open process right now where you can comment on it, decide if this is what we want in the community. This is the original plan that's been adopted. This is the proposed new one. We have examples and definitions that came from the City Planning Commission's website that we've printed out, and we have it on laminated binders for you. If you want to know what each of them mean, we have extra copies over there. Please make sure you pay attention to what's going to be voted on, because that means if you have a house somewhere and it's voted for commercial, you can't do that anymore. Understand there won't be spot zoning. So my real ask is, do not allocate money for spot zoning plans for our community. Respect our plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Good comments. And we're going to try to perhaps close out with Mr. Jimmy Jackson, and then the mayor is going to get up and respond to what you offered.
Good afternoon. My name is Jimmy Jackson. I don't live in the Ninth Ward, but I've been in New Orleans for many years, and I've worked 40 years out of here in the Merchant Marine, traveling all over the world, many countries. But one of the things I did hear here is people talking about grass. No one in here, whether you own a home or don't own a home, do not like to live in a jungle. That's why we live in this United States of America, the greatest country in the world. I have a solution to my way of thinking. We all cut our grasses. We don't like tall grass. And people talk about animals and snakes. No, none of it. That shouldn't be around here. Anyway, even the Ninth Ward, no place. I would think if this city has, I wouldn't know how many city crews they have who cut grass. To me, it's a problem is very simple. You could, streets run either parallel, somewhat, or diagonally. They may cross if they run parallel and diagonally. Could you not start at one end, say if you, for an example, let's say you had 10 grass cutting crews, or 4. Start at this end, where the street began, side by side street, parallel to each other. Go from one end to the other end. Cut every grass that needs to be cut. Have another crew, the other crew, go diagonally. From that end, go that way. I believe in probably a month's time, we will probably cut every uncut grass field in this lower 9th ward. That's just my comment. I was just listening. It's very simple. To me, it is. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Mr. Mayor, you ready to respond?
Professor, I thank you for protecting me. My brother, I went to law school too, and I was a professor of law, so why don't you give me a chance? And if I fail, y'all can hurt me. Fair enough? Amen? Amen? All right. And firstly, I was not ignoring you. I was honoring the process and making sure that everybody whose turn it was had their turn.